You can do that if you want. Shivery. Huh?
You ready? Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock and time to call to order the City Council meeting for April 11th, 2016. Mayor Riggle is running late due to some travel arrangements. She'll take over the meeting when she gets here. Elaine, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. Keller? Here. Mr. DeGenova?
Here.
Mr. Rohr?
Here.
Mr. Hellinger?
Here.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Here.
Mayor Riggle?
Second item on the agenda is invocation by Pastor Philip Wilden of the Asbury United Methodist Church, which we will follow by the Pledge of Allegiance. All please rise.
Let us be in the spirit of prayer. O good and gracious God, we thank you for your presence with us in every hour of the day, our waking, our sleeping, our working, our resting, in the shop and studio, in the office and classroom and boardroom, in solitude and with others. We thank you for placing us in communities where we both give and receive. We thank you for the employees of this city who serve you by offering their gifts and skills. And we pray for your Spirit to rest upon this proceeding tonight and our city's leaders, that as they receive reports, discuss policies, and make decisions, that in everything we may be guided by a vision of the common good. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Wilden. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Turn it over to you, Mayor.
We'll go ahead and do the next one.
Okay, so item 4 is approval of a motion summary from March 28th, 2016.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes,
Motion passed.
I apologize for being late. I missed my flight. I flew into Youngstown and I drove here. So I apologize. It's been a long day. And item 5 is the consent agenda. If the clerk will please read this into the record.
Item A, establish April 25th, 2016 at 7:30 p.m. as the date and time for public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 16-27, an ordinance approving amendments to chapter 1151.02, non-conforming buildings or structures, and 1151.03, non-conforming use of building and land, of the Planning and Zoning Code to revise regulations related to non-conforming use of buildings, structures, and land. Item B, establish April 25th, 2016 at 7:40 p.m. as the date and time for public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 16-28, an ordinance approving a rezoning for Sawmill Delaware Investments, LLC, to the existing M1 PMU, Light Manufacturing Plan Mixed Use Overlay District at 2663 Airport Road, parcel number 419-220-02-003-00, on approximately 47.558 acres. Item C, established April 25th, 2016 at 7:50 p.m. as the date and time for public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 16-29, an ordinance approving a conditional use permit for Shorty's Casual Cuisine to construct a temporary outdoor patio at 554 West Central Avenue on approximately 1.1 acre property zoned B3 Community Business District. Item D, acceptance of the motion summary for the Planning Commission meeting held March 2nd, 2016.
What is the wish of council on the consent agenda?
I move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Keller, second by Mr. Jones. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass? Mr. Dion? Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes, motion carries. And item 6 is time set aside for letters, petitions, or public comments of anything that's not on tonight's agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come forward? And as you have a seat, if you'll give us your name and address for the record, please.
Alexander Ilic, 8182 North Liberty Street, Delaware, Ohio.
I bet she didn't get your name. I'll try to.
Alexander Ilic, ILIC, last name.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just if this is not the way that I need to do this, but this is the only kind of way I was thinking to introduce the problem I wanna try to fix with the Delaware City, and that's the food waste in Delaware City.
The food waste?
Food waste
Okay.
and manure waste that we have. We have a lot of horse farms around the Delaware City. I started a couple of months ago. I started a small company doing the worm composting, using the food waste and horse manure. But I do that as a backyard operation in a legal. Should be like 300 to 300 square feet operation. But when you start doing that, and I'm organic gardener, that was how I started doing the organic gardening for myself. I want to do without chemicals, without chemical fertilizers. One way to do that is composting all the food waste or horse manure through the worms. You get the worm casting. That's not a legally fertilizer, but it's organic way to do fertilizing. When you do that, you see how much you have of food waste, and that you actually my house is almost waste free, like maybe diapers, and that's it. Not really, but it's when you start composting, and then you start thinking Delaware as a city, restaurants. My wife works. I was working for Ohio Wesleyan University schools. That's piles and piles of food waste that we don't need to throw to the landfill. And if you throw that in a landfill, you get the methane, you get all kind of bad things that we don't need to do. I know that you're gonna introduce the environmental week in our Earth Day week in a couple of days. This is something that I'm trying for the last year or a year and a half to do as a business, not to go and ask Delaware for city for help or something, but do and ask business people in Delaware to go with me, because I know how, and I maybe have money to invest in kind of operation, but I don't have a land. You need land, so I went to Price Farm Organic, every composting facility in Delaware that you think about. I was there, and for the last year I'm trying to find somebody to go do business. For different reasons, I was not able to do that, so I started my company doing just a little bit, and right now I have all these products in every store in Delaware that you think about it, vegetables or plants or anything, Oakland Nursery and something like that, Miller's Farm. But that's not the business part is not my main goal. My main goal was to get Delaware, that I'm part of Delaware for almost like 9 years, and I feel like my new hometown, to get more green and to get more sustainable. And just that, I mean, I really see this as a business opportunity for Delaware, and making money of something that we as a city throw away. I mean, it's green, it's not green anymore as a hippie thing, like let's do something good, but not, it's money. So I'm here now to ask you if you're interested in anything like that project as a, I don't know, maybe pilot project, for a city of Delaware and get for a year or couple of years, try to reduce the food waste, maybe start with the pre-consumer food waste. It's a different type of food waste. One pre-consumer that you get in the kitchen before you make your meal, and then you can, that's the kind of food waste that you can compost through the worms and get and then post-consumers, that's from the plate. We need facilities for that. And I know, talking with the Price Farm Organic owner and other people, that's almost as a red light when you say food waste composting here in Ohio for different reasons. But I really think that in a different ways, that if we separate that food waste, that we can manage, because it's always like odor problem or any other issues with the food waste is because the large amount of food waste. But if you separate that and do one part, maybe again, that was my proposal through my company or with me, and do and make that organic fertilizer, sell that, and get some money back, and then the half of the organic food waste that you can do through the worms, find the place. I know I think it's the Ringler farm. They have a hog farm. They do that biodigester facilities that you can dispose that. But again, I'm the only one-man army, so I try to do that, but I really need help to start something bigger on a much larger scale, and I would be love to do that with the Delaware City in any way that you think that we can do as a business, as a project that we can maybe get actually Delaware City can get the grant and get running that. But again, you're the last part that I'm asking for to start something bigger, because I really try to do that as a business thing with a businessman from the Delaware. Again, for different reasons, it's not working. So
Okay, have you met with Sustainable Delaware? Have you met with that group at all?
yes, and I was a part.
That happened to be here
Sustainable.
tonight.
Yeah, again, I will try to explain. Any organization that you think about in Delaware, any business part that you about composting or something, I've been there.
Okay.
You're really the last one that I want to see, because right now that's the reason I started my company, because it was really not the idea, oh, let's make money from of that. It was more like, let's try to what I'm doing for my house and my family, let's do for other. But no, it's okay. But unfortunately, I don't have the land that I can just say like,
Sure.
okay, I'm gonna do it all by myself and just start composting on that land. Bigger idea is I really want to start the company and start taking all the food waste from the restaurants and stuff. But again, it's always that problem where I'm gonna go with the food. Investing in maybe trucks and stuff, that's not a bigger issue than having a place to do that.
Okay.
Even if I find place to get it from the plate that I can compost through the worms with Ringler family or farm or however, I still need a bigger place to do worm composting and do the food waste. So that's the reason I'm here to see if Delaware City is interested in something like that. Empty space, land, warehouse, anything that we can use and try that. I'm not going to be successful or it's going to be great or it's not going to be with problems, but I'm really want to try with Delaware and start that. And again, I know for the Cleveland got some grants from the government to do food and manure composting because the pollution. I like Allen Creek. I love to go to sleep every year, every summer. first month you can't go there because of the pollution and because it's salmonella or other bacteria or something. And they always blame the horse manure. It's probably chemicals that we use on our grass too. So it's not just the manure, but manure is the one part of that. I talk a lot of the food waste, but manure is the important part. My experience is that you can just composting the food waste without manure, or it's much easier to do that. So it's kind of getting two problems with the one. So
Okay, if you would give Elaine your phone number, I have
Sure.
some ideas and I'll talk to some other council members and then I promise to call you back.
absolutely.
Will that work?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming and bringing this to our attention. Anyone else in the audience that would like to come forward at this time? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports. Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. I think first, there's a Sister City meeting tomorrow
Tomorrow
night.
night. Mhm.
That's here.
Yes.
Okay. To Assistant Manager Walker, you can take me off that Hayes Memorial list.
Okay.
I didn't realize there was like 7 people from staff on this. For some reason I had in my head there was nobody, so I don't need an extra meeting. Joe's gonna be there, Carolyn's gonna be there, and you and Tom and
Yeah.
Dave, so.
I
take me
don't
off
think
of
we
that.
all go to the meeting. It was just,
That's,
okay.
no, I don't need that. I had a Main Street Delaware meeting on Wednesday. I have a copy here for you. I just brought with me, a copy of, one of the things that we tied to the funding was trying to increase participation in Main Street. So I just wanted you guys to have a copy of the mail going out. There's some great things coming up with some open houses and a beer and pizza night, trying to get people to come to check out, learn about Main Street. So I just wanted you to have a copy of the membership letter that's going out. So they got great things. It was a big topic, so they're on the right track. So I just wanted to pass that along to everybody. And one thing that came up, and I don't know, there's a couple of things that I'll bring up in council comments, but we've talked about reorganizing the downtown, maybe with where the benches are situated and the plan, this and that. But when that comes to the time to have action, Main Street would be involved with that. And I think that's just a good idea to have them involved in that process as well. So I just wanted to throw that on the table. So with that, that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Keller?
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. DeGenova?
I have a couple, actually 4. Civil service meeting on Wednesday this week at 3 o'clock. And we have quite a long agenda on that. Chris got off of it, and my wife said if I get on another committee, I'll probably be looking for a girlfriend. So,
Too late, I got up first. So.
take that off. But just an update on the Hayes Memorial, we met this week, and one kudos to Jackie's doing an outstanding job. She's kind of our point person on it. Carolyn was out of town, and we are going to put it out for bid on May the 26th. The bids are due in, and we're going to be sitting in here, and the committee will be going through just the same as we did for the Veterans Memorial, and then they're going back on that for concept drawings. And then the right now on the committee, there's 17 here, we're 18, there's 17 of us. And they're going to go for a grant similar to what we did on the Veterans Memorial also, which is going to take time. But it's progressing, and they're also, I brought some pictures of the memorial that is on the BP area, and I'll share these with council, have them make copies, but they're going to update the memorial also by BP, and there's a group that's going to be doing that, planting new flowers, and they're still going to have that as a continuation of, that's where the house was at one time, for those of you who don't have moved into Delaware. But the memorial itself is going to be over here by Amato's, and it's going to be a bronze statue with waterfalls. And we don't know yet the numbers of the dollars, but the Columbus Dispatch is going to put an article in the paper, and we wanted to make sure the Gazette also was available. Hopefully they'll read the tape tonight and be able to do something on it. The Veterans Breakfast, the committee I'm on, met at 1 o'clock prior to that meeting, and we're still anticipating on having that out at the National Guard Armory and YMCA. That's on 11/11/16. Hayes is having their program on the following Monday, so the Hayes group will be able to participate. They had school that day. Last year, they didn't have school on Memorial Day. And our theme and program on that's going to be, we're going to honor the National Guard, the history of the National Guard. We've come up with a theme.
Is the opening on Memorial Day or Veterans Day?
No, this is another one. This is the second one. This is the Veterans Breakfast that's usually out at Source Point on Memorial Day. Source Point's no longer going to do it, and we're going to have it at the YMCA.
Okay.
And there are Source Point people working on it. The mayor, myself, and others are working on it. Tom's lovely wife's on the committee also. But that is on the 11th, and that is in the morning. We don't have a time schedule. There'll be CAT accessibility and things of that nature. Then last but not, the Veterans Memorial is May 30th. 1 o'clock, or noon right now. We're still shooting for that. I have the bricks, if anybody wants to buy a brick.
Did you find out what the deadline was to get those bricks?
Is it, we had a deadline?
What's the latest you can,
Right.
in case you're a procrastinator? What's the latest you can?
And who would that be, Chris?
I've heard people.
The 13th is the drop dead date to get all
13th
the
of
May.
April. April. Like next week?
That's next week.
Wednesday.
That's like 2 days.
Like 2 days from now?
right, because we have to
So quick.
schedule the engraver, and he has to know ahead of time that
Yeah.
how many bricks we have to get ordered. He has to schedule to come down here.
Pass those out.
Yeah, let's get these passed out here. I've got.
Send me some out
See,
today.
but I-
Yeah, me too. I
So
thought we
5
put that out
o'clock
on
the 13th.
Facebook. Mhm.
Yeah. City Hall Plaza. All right.
And you have to pay for them as when you put your application in.
That's right, right. And Michelle is collecting all of the orders.
Okay, because I have 6 here I gotta submit, but I didn't bring my checkbook. Okay, and lastly is the memorial, and Jackie and I went down and we saw the eternal flame. I only have one copy of this if anybody wants to look at it. This will be mounted, and this will be the focal point of the memorial. And everything's going as planned. It's a muddy hole out there right now, but hopefully it'll be.
Be
Did I
sunny
read-
the rest of the week.
Yeah, did I leave anything out, Jackie, on that?
I think.
Cover the bases.
But we're meeting on a kind of a monthly basis on that, but the others are we're meeting until we get the program set for the other 2 programs. That's all I have.
Mr. Orr?
There's nothing wrong here.
Mr. Hellinger?
Nothing.
Mr. Schaefer?
Nothing, thank you.
All right, I have nothing. At this time, will be a presentation, and we'll call Kristen Piper forward. Oh, okay, Brad. Both of you? All right. I guess we'll let Brad come too.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. As part of our Ohio EPA MS4 stormwater permit, we are required to present to an organization or a business within the city of Delaware pollution prevention award. This organization or business contributes to the reduction of pollutants from entering the stormwater system and into the Olentangy River. We have given out 3 previous awards. This will be our 4th award that we're giving out. And with that, Kristen Piper, the city's watershed coordinator, would like to present this year the 2015 recipient of the City of Delaware Pollution Prevention Award.
Do I stand up and present? Sure. Okay. You can just lean that microphone up so people can hear you. Mhm. I know.
All right. This past year's winner organized a thorough cleanup of the downtown area in early spring of 2015. Each month, May through October throughout the year, there were additional cleanups organized to help maintain the city's downtown area. With these efforts, less pollution was present, limiting the amount that ended up in the Olentangy River. Additionally, this organization worked in partnership with Preservation Parks to help improve our landscape with the downtown planters by using native plants. Native plants require less fertilizer and pesticides that could potentially run off our stormwater. So with these efforts during the 2015 calendar year, the City of Delaware is pleased to award this 2015 Pollution Prevention Award to Main Street Delaware. I'm up next, right?
You're up next.
All right. Earth Day is April 22nd, and with that, the City of Delaware would like to recognize Earth Week coming up, which is next week.
And I understand this is your last meeting.
It is.
Tom's whispering
Yeah,
something
yeah.
here, and I'm like, no, she can't leave us.
Yes, this is my last meeting.
I was hoping no one would see the way I dress, so I apologize. I'm old and blind. Whereas the City of Delaware has a responsibility to recognize occasions of outstanding significance. And whereas 46 years ago, on April 22nd, 1970, 20 million people joined together on the first Earth Day and brought the urgent need for clean air and water to the attention of the world. Whereas that first Earth Day launched the environmental movement and set forth a worldwide call for responsible stewardship of Earth's resources. Whereas progress has since been made in improving the environmental health of the Earth, but remains much critical work to be done at levels by citizens, organizations, businesses, industries, government, including local communities and governments. Whereas we are always found for preserving our planet's resources for our children, grandchildren, and future generations. Whereas a community-wide week of education, activities, and actions in Delaware County is encouraged to recognize the 46th anniversary of the first Earth Day and to seek solutions to the problem of today and to the future. Now, therefore, I, Carolyn K. Riddle, urge the community to join together to do our share of this task ahead, and I hereby declare April 18th, 2016, the start of Earth Week in the City of Delaware. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you. Okay, item 9 is the second reading of ordinance 16-16. If the clerk will please read this in the record.
Ordinance number 16-16, an ordinance approving a community reinvestment area agreement and school compensation agreement with Midwest Acoustic Fiber and Metal Stars 2 LLC, Delaware City Schools and Delaware Area Career Center for investment and real property improvements on their building and parcel at 759 Pittsburgh Drive and declaring an emergency. Emergency clause. The ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary to provide for the public peace, safety, health, and welfare of the city, and is necessary to finalize negotiations, and as such will be in full force and effect immediately upon its passage.
Thank you. Mr. Hughes?
Thank you, Mayor Riggle, members of council. We bring this project back before you. As you recall, I think it was a couple council meetings ago, we tabled this so that we could work through some language changes in the agreements themselves with the companies. We have resolved those language issues and are bringing this back forward. What we have before you is a retention and expansion project that involves Midwest Acoustic Fiber. As you know, they currently operate on 79 Pittsburgh Drive, as well as 487 London Road. This project would involve the retention of 36 employees at 487 London Road and 126 employees at the Pittsburgh Drive location. We first met with this company late summer, early fall, and started talking about their future plans as a company. They saw some opportunities due to various business causes, including new customers, to start exploring other locations in and around Ohio, Southeast U.S., to better serve their clients and make their company more efficient. However, we, along with our regional partner, Columbus 2020, put together a package after negotiating with them that we hoped would allow them to grow their company here in Delaware. So they applied for a 100% 10-year community reinvestment area abatement. That would also involve a 30% school pilot payment agreement. 30% of what the schools would have normally received would be paid directly to the schools by the company. This abatement would involve the retention of the said employees I spoke about earlier, as well as the creation of 14 new full-time employee positions within a 3-year time period for an additional $420,000 of payroll. When you calculate in the retention of $5.86 million of existing payroll, the addition of the $420,000 of additional payroll, it would make approximately a 454% return on investment with the value of the tax abatement. The school pilot payment agreement would have a value of about $99,500. The CRA would be valued at about $305,000. All incentives do have clawback clauses. So as we monitor them through their annual incentive reporting period in the winter, we'll be watching for that performance and discussing that with them. They do get 3 years, as you know, to make those commitments. Therefore, the Tax Incentive Negotiation Committee is recommending the passage of a particular tax abatement agreement, as well as the company and school compensation agreement. They also, yes, I do want to add that this is a combined agreement due to the fact that they recently have sold their building to a new owner, a company called Agricel. The agreement itself will actually be with another LLC that Agricel has created to own the building, called Middle Stars 2, that you'll see actually in the agreements that you have in your packet. So it is a combined agreement with both companies, the City of Delaware, and the school district. And with that, I introduce to you Pat Bai, who is the plant manager of the Delaware facility.
Okay. Again, Patrick Bai.
Before you do that, can you give us your name and address for the record? Sorry.
Sure. Patrick Bai, 5161 York County Road. Good afternoon. Again, as Sean just went through and described the overall project, and as he mentioned, we've actually have gone forward basically on good faith based on our previous conversations. We've entered into a sale leaseback agreement with the company to basically proceed and add on to our facility on Pittsburgh Drive. So that process is moving forward. Our business is growing. We have 8 parts on the new Honda Civic, 2016 Civic. That's not manufactured in Ohio. It's manufactured in Indiana, but we're making parts for it here. We're bidding on some substantial other business as well. So we're growing. We see a good future. And as we originally, when we presented this originally, the simplest thing for me as a manufacturer is to move the London Road facility down half a mile down the road and be able to manage that facility under one roof Coupled with that, we're doing upgrades to the existing facility. Today is a pretty horrible day outside. As I left, we had 2 forklift drivers driving around with returnable containers in the rain. The new facility will have a canopy that will prevent them having to go out in the rain. We'll have those containers under cover. And in addition, we've already started upgrading the lighting in the existing facilities, part of this overall deal. So, you know, we're basically going full bore ahead.
Any questions by council? And what is the wish of council?
I move to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings in ordinance 1616.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Schaefer, a second by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Move to enact the emergency clause on ordinance 1616.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move for approval of ordinance 16-16.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mr. DeGenova. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, council.
Thank you.
It's 10.
Okay, item 10 is consideration of ordinance number 16-26.
Ordinance number 16-26, an ordinance for Midwest Acoustic Fiber for approval of a combined preliminary and final development plan for an approximate 40,000 square foot building addition on approximately 14.70 acres zoned M2 General Manufacturing District located at 759 Pittsburgh Drive.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'll just have a little bit to add to the last discussion on inducements to the company to come to relocate and expand here really at one site. We have a combined preliminary and final development plan that was recommended for unanimous approval by your planning commission at our last meeting. We all know the site on Pittsburgh Drive. It does have another driveway that comes out on London Road as well. That will be closed off and more formally made an emergency-only access with these improvements. We've come to understand that it was perhaps supposed to be done long ago, but it'll be done with this one in any case. Site is zoned heavy industrial. Aerial photograph should we need it, and just to orient you, if I can get the arrow to work here. The expansion of 40,000 square feet is happening in this part of the building, formalizing this. Part of this is gravel now. This will be formalized in an asphalt drive, really at the behest of safety forces, make sure we can get a fire truck on an asphalt drive all the way around the facility. And the canopy that was mentioned as well will be approximately here in this location of the building. There'll be an additional amount of parking lot provided, 40 spaces, although as you can see on the aerial, there's plenty of room, and the site plan reflects that well over 100 additional spaces could be added if they were required in the future, but there's no compelling reason to pave over that green area at this point, given the information the applicants supplied us in terms of shift work and their amount of needed parking. And that's consistent with what we've done with other industrial developers as well. So the site plan's in your packet. Here it's just shaded. The white is obviously the existing. You can see the yellow for the new parking, the green for the 40,000 square foot addition to the rear, and the canopy in addition to some of the asphalt paving areas. The building will match, be a little taller in this part, but it'll match the existing building that's out there today as well. And those elevations were provided in your packet. Staff recommends approval as well, and happy to see a business expand and consolidate and have more efficient operations here in Delaware, and look forward to future expansions. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Jocelyn? Would you like to add anything, or? have to give your name and address since you haven't been.
Sure, I'm Amy Biondi Huffman. My address is 8400 Industrial Parkway, Plain City, Ohio 43064. I'm with the general contractor, Fed One Dublin LLC.
Thank you.
And Dave did a great job summarizing what we have intended.
Would you like to add anything?
No,
Nope.
I'm just looking forward to getting that space.
Okay. Well, what is the wish of council?
I move we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on 1626.
Okay, a motion by Mr. DeGenova, a second by Mr. Schaefer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move for the approval of 1626 as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Mr. DeGenova, second by Mr. Schaefer. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And item 11 is the second reading of ordinance number 16-25. If Elena, please read this in the record.
Ordinance number 16-25, an ordinance supplementing the 2016 appropriations ordinance to provide funding for concept drawings and construction estimates for 3 city facilities and declaring an emergency. Emergency clause. This ordinance is declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, property, health, safety, and welfare of the city, and for the further reason that this ordinance is required to be immediately effective in order to have the information ready for the 2017 capital improvement program and grant opportunities. The ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its passage.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is the second reading of this ordinance, and I don't have any additional information. Nothing's changed from the last time that we met, but I'm happy to answer any questions regarding this contract, and I know that our design firm is very excited to get started, so I'm happy to answer any of the questions you might have about what our purpose is or our timeline, anything of that sort.
Any questions or comments?
What's your timeline?
90 days.
That's the only question?
And I know some of you had an opportunity, I know Zach Price with Triad Architects is here tonight. I know some of you had an opportunity to visit the facility that he was involved in Columbus. And that's hopefully something that we might not be able to replicate that, but I think a lot of the ideas that we saw there
That was
can
amazing.
translate to
Right.
what we're looking at.
We went to the Idea Factory as a group and just saw some amazing work. And Zach's team is truly inspirational, and it would be wonderful to have something like that here in Delaware to inspire our young innovators and some old ones like me too. So.
The young adults.
I was impressed with it, and I told him that if we could move it over on Flack Street in the east side of Delaware, as a phase 2 of that, that would be great. But it is quite an operation, and I was really excited about when I came back, and I hope that we can even get 10-20% fraction of that here in Delaware. Would be great.
All right. What is the wish of council on ordinance 16-25?
Move to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings on ordinance 16-25. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Schaefer, a second by Mr. Jones. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move to enact the emergency clause on ordinance 16-25. Second.
Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mr. Jones. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
And I move for the approval of ordinance 16-25. Second.
Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Okay.
You're busy,
Well,
Jackie.
hey, we absolutely will get to work. Thank you
I
so
know you will.
much.
Thank you. And item 12 is consideration of ordinance 16-27. If Elena, please read this into the record.
Ordinance number 16-27, an ordinance approving amendments to Chapter 1151.02 nonconforming buildings or structures and 1151.03 nonconforming use of buildings and land of the Planning and Zoning Code to revise regulations related to nonconforming use of buildings, structures, and land.
Mr. Eflin?
Madam Mayor, members of council, this is just a first reading. Your public hearing is set for your next meeting. We'll do full presentation then, but I can answer any general questions you might have.
Any general questions? All right, moving on. Item 13 is consideration of ordinance 16-28. Elena, if you'll please read this in.
Ordinance number 16-28, an ordinance approving a rezoning for Sawmill Delaware Investments LLC to the existing M1 MU Light Manufacturing Plan Mixed Use Overlay District at 2663 Airport Road, parcel number 419-220-02-003-00 on approximately 47.558 acres.
Madam Mayor, members of council, again, this is the first reading. We'll perform a full report for you at your next meeting.
Okay. Any general questions for Mr. Eflin? All right. Item 14 is consideration of ordinance 16-29. Elena, if you'll please read this into the record.
Ordinance number 16-29, an ordinance approving a conditional use permit for Shorty's Casual Cuisine to construct a temporary outdoor patio at 554 West Central Avenue on approximately 1.1 acres on property zoned B3, Community Business District.
Madam Mayor, members of council, ditto what I just said the last two.
Okay. Elaine, if you read ordinance 16-30 and 16-31 together.
Ordinance number 16-30, an ordinance approving a final subdivision plat for Belmont Place, Section 2, consisting of 25 single-family lots on 6 acres zoned R2 PMU, one family residential district with a planned mixed-use overlay district located at Brett's Lane, Ensign Lane, and McNamara Loop. Ordinance number 16-31, an ordinance approving a final subdivision plat for Belmont Place, Section 3, consisting of 24 single-family lots on 7.271 acres zoned R2 PMU, one family residential district with a planned mixed-use overlay district located on Brett's Lane, Ensign's Lane, and McNamara Loop.
Thank you. Mr. Eflin, you going to talk this time?
I'm going to talk this time.
All right.
This is definitely not a ditto, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This is for the next two final subdivision plat sections for Belmont Place, really the quickly building at this point, subdivision down on Peach Blow Road, just adjacent to Glen Parkway. This is for sections 2 and 3. Here's our location map. As you can see, the first section is in here in terms of roads and lots and the park land that's been developed. The second two sections will be in the yellow on the map. There are a number of underlying zoning districts, but this is covered by a planned mixed-use overlay district with its own sub-areas and its own very specific zoning text. And this is in keeping with that zoning text to continue this subdivision section. But this gives you a sense of it's about a 100-acre site of the remaining balance of the land available even after these two sections. Section 2 consists of 25 lots, and Section 3 consists of 24 lots. The original shown in yellow here, Section 2, management and Peach Blow Road improvements are all in at this point, including their portion of bike path, as well as the park for this section of the subdivision. So the Planning Commission recommends unanimous approval, as do we. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions or comments? Mr. Eflin?
I just wanted to mention, I know we talked about this last week, it's just clarification on the marketing that has gone into Belmont Place. This is a great subdivision, as Dave indicated, and it's located in the Lewis Center zip code, even though it's in the corporate limits of the city. And we're working with Orion Homes on clarifying that for the homeowners down there to make sure that they understand the Olentangy School District, the corporate limits of the city, and a Lewis Center mailing address. So, and I know that there was some communication.
Man, it's clear as a bell.
Yeah. So not unlike what a lot of the other Columbus suburban areas go through, but I know that Dave, we had some communications last week with Ryan Homes regarding that. Our homes that their marketing material reflect the fact that they are located in the corporate limits of the city.
There's obviously the U.S. Post Office assigned zip code and the offices that the mail comes out of. So we've requested that perhaps that'd be Delaware, but that's ultimately their decision. But in terms of the marketing material, I think Ryan's reached back to us and indicated that they understood our concerns and would modify their marketing material to reflect that they are indeed in the city of Delaware.
Okay.
They're in the 3rd ward also.
Just throw that out there. Is there anyone here from Ryan Homes?
Oh, it's Kevin.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm with the developer.
Okay.
Center of Interest, Kevin McCauley, 6689 Dublin Center Drive, Dublin, Ohio.
Very good.
If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any I could. But to add to that, we're also following Dave's suit. He said that he asked Ryan to give some calls to the post office and everywhere else. So we're doing our part as the developer. We're only one part of that, but as well, and he did some stuff over, some quotes from you and saying the city of Delaware. So we're trying to, reiterate that with Ryan. And you're right. I think they're grabbing right a hold of that and see the advantages in saying that. So we're going to get that correct. Yeah.
Good.
If you have any other questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? You can ask a question, sure.
Yeah.
Hi, Kevin. It's been a while. Don't want to put you on the spot, but while I have you, so I don't get to see you. Do you guys know what you're doing with that parcel of land that we auctioned off at the one on 23?
Not, I would say not at the moment.
Okay, so maybe I'll get in touch with you offline. I know you're busy, but
If you want to do that, that'd be great.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm available.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just an update on the sales, going well, I assume, if you're in.
On the single family side,
yeah.
Things are going, now that we've gotten traction going, lots are available and for sale. So we really came out of the ground last September, October, where we first made the lots available. And so, marketing efforts start from that point. Did see a lot, that's not the best time to come out of the ground and have lots available Christmas and the holidays. But since really kind of January kicked in, they're on fire. I mean, they're really seeing, like I said, the first phase, it was only 25 lots. They're seeing 4 to 5 sales a month right now. So they're out of lots, all but 4 lots in the first phase. So we're behind the time. Now we're trying to rush to catch them. So they're really seeing good volume. Price point is also, I think, much better than what we anticipated. I think there's a drought of lots out there, so you're seeing that also. There's not a lot of product available today. So if we were anticipating $300,000 price point, they're probably averaging $400. They've got one closed over $500. So they're doing well, extremely well with that. So they're seeing that's really good. So we're seeing the product come up. It's a good thing if there is a slight turn down, they can come down in price a little bit and still get that instead of starting bottom and you don't have nowhere to go. So they've got, they're doing real well there. So seeing good things. We're hoping to be able to now continue the next 2 phases through. As we're here getting both of them in, we're probably going to try to go ahead and, as engineering everything's approved, we're probably going to try and go just blast up the next 2 phases here right away. We're going to start phase 2 in the next 30 days, I think, as long as everything gets approved and everybody's lined up to start.
Any thoughts on the commercial yet, or do you think that might?
That's the quandary out there. That's we don't have a lot of interest there yet. Had a meeting today again with the marketing group to try to see what there is out there. It's the infill sites, they're a little closer in. It will come. I just, what had happened, I think, in this area, if you look around, there was a lot of platted lots in the last 5 years. And Dave probably knows there's 1,000 platted lots in this area and with Glen Ross and everybody. And not a lot of houses going. Now, if you look, there's just, I don't know, again, how many permits you're seeing in that area in the last few months, but it's got to, they're really running out. So I think that'll help now when you start to see all the houses actually being built, just not platted lots, but now you're seeing finished lots, you're seeing houses built, and all of that going there. Hopefully we're going to get some traction there, but today it's just still That's the tough one. I wish I had it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So what is the wish of council on ordinance 16-30?
Move to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on ordinance 16-30. Second.
Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move for approval of ordinance 16-30. Second.
Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mr. DeGenova. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Move to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on ordinance 16-31. Second.
Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Move for approval of ordinance 16-31. Second.
Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mr. DeGenova. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. And item 17 is consideration of ordinance number 16-32. Elaine, if you'll please read this into the record.
Ordinance number 16-32, an ordinance approving a final development plan for Speedway LLC for an approximate 4,608 square foot gas station and convenience store on approximately 12.912 acres located on the northwest corner of US 23 and Hills Miller Road on property zoned B4, General Business District.
Thank you. Mr. Eflin?
Madam Mayor, members of council, this is as read for the final development plan for Speedway at Hills Miller and 23. We'll just go through the presentation quickly here as we had a lot of details, as you know, for the preliminary development plan. It's a location map. It does occupy the entire corner, less a small bit right at the corner previously known as Obies, which is not in the city, is in the township at this point in time. Speedway is the almost 13 acres represented in the yellow here, though. It is zone B4, which allows this use by right. Aerial photograph, should we need it. And right on into the site plan. You can see here from changes from preliminary to final are in dark green. The proposed permanent conservation area, which amounts to close to 4 acres of land, both on the north side. The orientation to you here, sorry. The north is to the right of the screen, but both on the north side and on the west side of the access drive. You can also see in your packet and hopefully on this side screen, you can see got a discussion about connecting the sidewalk from Hills Miller through to the front of the store, which has been done here with the final development plan as well. The light green shading represents a significant amount of open space that's going to remain on this parcel as well. There is a contingency, as was accounted for in the preliminary plan, for a future backage road in this location right here. But there's no compelling reason to go ahead and pave that over at this time. That would just come forward, should it be needed, to connect properties to the north as well. Overall, on 13 acres, there's a little over 4 acres being developed. The rest is in green space or permanent conservation space. You have 3 cattle pumps to the back for oversized vehicles and trucks. And you have the general pump island and the convenience store, about 4,000 square feet, oriented towards 23. The building elevation changed just slightly in a little bit of orientation to the door, but there's still dormers proposed on the roof. There's a bit of a pitched canopy entrance to the building now, highlighting the entrance to the building. We'll include really a mansard roof on the canopy, as well as a neutral color scheme and really minimized signage. The stone would be our Delaware blue vein stone or cultured stone equivalent, similar to what you see on the store out on Troy Road. And other than that, this reflects what the preliminary approvals did as well. Proposed tree removal and replacement plan. This is the same one that you saw preliminary with a little more detail now that we're here at final. The applicant had actually submitted for, we reviewed and approved a tree clearing permit. That's the activities that you see on site. That included documentation of the trees coming out, approximately $117,000 check for payment in lieu of replanting. As you know, they're replanting several hundred calipers on site as well. And they're preserving more than half of the trees that pre-existed on this site as well. We also, during that permit process, pledged from them that should they not be successful in receiving your approval for a final development plan, that they would also make a payment in lieu of replacement for those trees that they're credited for in the replacement plan as well. And so there was no compelling reason not to issue that permit either. I want to draw your attention. Let me turn the landscape plan. It might be easier to see on your computers or in your packet, but I want to draw your attention to a couple of other changes from the preliminary. One is inclusion of about a 5-foot mound from grade, working its way up to a 5-foot mound here at Hills Miller and the access drive, in addition to a slightly different layered landscaping approach and a number of evergreen trees being proposed to enhance that buffering at that particular corner. Also, access drive, there's now a soldier course of evergreen trees proposed and a number of evergreen trees proposed in this island between the access drive and the saddle pumps. It's easy to lose a little sense of scale here. This island is large enough to accommodate those trees as well. So from the western property line, you're going to have a very, very much layered landscaping approach in addition to the permanent conservation easement land right along that. It's on the top part of this screen, but on the western side of the site as well. Another thing I want to draw your attention to, and you absolutely cannot see it at the scale, but I'll run the cursor down here to just show you that the limestone piers, in accordance with our gateway and corridor plan, these are the 3-foot tall, approximately limestone piers, more actually than the gateway and corridor plan calls for, in addition to our monolith. The only other one we have in the city right now is at Turkey Hill. Appears at this corner as well, and in accordance with the gateway and corridor plan. There are a number of items that have been worked on with regard to roads and traffic and access. Bill can speak to those should you have any questions, but we feel that our 22 conditions coming out of Planning Commission will satisfy the preliminary plan, and should it receive final approval tonight or at the next meeting, we will make sure that they satisfy all of these conditions. Planning Commission did recommend unanimous approval. They did change condition 20 that appears in your ordinance to account for all of the outdoor merchandise being located really on the north side of the building, this location here, and surrounded by a stone and brick wall to match the adjacent building as well. And that'll help us with enforcement in the future to make sure those sorts of things can happen, but they're contained in an area and screened really from the public way. So with that, there is, as I said, a Planning Commission. There really is no reason to not recommend approval of this case at this time. And we do, as did your Planning Commission, happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions?
I do for the developer.
Welcome.
My name is Chris Warshaw, 395 Springside Drive, Akron, Ohio. I'm with CESO here on behalf of Speedway. There are also some people here from Speedway Operations, so if you have any questions, we'll be more than welcome to answer any of them.
David did the Shade Tree Commission, and I know on the trees, was that approved by them?
I'm not sure if, I think it has gone through Shade Tree
It's
Commission.
currently being reviewed. I think there were some comments that we've gotten, and I believe they're in, at least on our planning packet. I don't know if they made it all the way to you guys as well, but there's some different species of evergreen trees that the Shade Tree would like to see. And so we'll work with them in the city planning department to make sure that the correct species of trees are called out and there's enough variety of them to provide a good visual screen.
Okay. And the money that in lieu of that goes into the Shade Tree.
To the tree fund.
Tree funds. Okay.
Not Shade Tree Fund.
Yes. The tree fund. I served on the committee too long, I guess. And the 22 conditions, you're aware of all the 22 conditions and you concur with them and you will abide by them?
Yes.
And even the last one, the outside storage area?
Yes, in fact, I talked to the architect today, and they're already working on those designs.
Very good, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant or comments? I think it looks very nice.
What's the anticipated opening?
Depending how fast we can get through engineering final reviews, I think Speedway would love to be able to get the store open this year. But more realistic, we're probably talking 2017, but we're still pushing for a 2016 open date. I should say Speedway's still pushing for that.
Thank you. So what is the wish of council on 16-32?
Move to suspend the rules, require 3 readings on ordinance 16-32.
Second. I have a motion by Mr. Schaefer, a second by Mrs. Keller. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Abstain.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move for approval of ordinance 16-32.
Second. Motion by Mr. Schaefer, second by Mrs. Keller. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Abstain.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Hellinger?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Okay. Item 18 is city manager's report.
Just a couple of quick things. I was at the Strand yesterday for their 100th anniversary celebration and was able to present the proclamation. They're very excited about another 100 years, and they'll be having a celebration, a big gala in June. You'll all be getting invitations for it. There will be stars that are going to be put out in front, and Delaware City and Delaware County will be each getting a star, as well as a number of other donors that have been part of that program. There was some discussion, I know, regarding bulky waste pickup. This is something that we've been talking about at the staff level. Intend to try to get some consensus on that, bring it to Public Works, give you some options, take a look at it perhaps for 2017 if it's something you're interested in. I know it started with a thread that George had regarding some of the overflow that we're experiencing at some of these drop-off points at the various plazas in the city. So that will follow up on. Delaware moving forward, the public information regarding our transportation improvement program. We'll be talking in the next couple of weeks to various civic organizations. I'll be sending you out information about that. You're able to join us for that, and I know that there have been some scheduled homeowners association meetings, so if you're able to, just let us know, and we're happy to provide information for those meetings. So, and there is a dedication, groundbreaking for the Ohio Health Oncology Expansion Center at the Delaware Medical Campus later this week. I believe it's on Thursday. So if you're able to make that, please stop by. Thanks. That's it.
Okay. Council comment. Mr. Jones?
2 brief ones. Going back to the levy, are those documents?
They're ready.
Draft on them. So is there versions of them that we can get the state draft on them? Or?
Yeah, Lee, I think was going to, if we haven't sent those out, I believe the watermark has been taken off, then.
Unless I missed a copy.
Yeah, we'll send them back out, yeah.
My second comment briefly is, again, this came out of Main Street Delaware meeting, and oddly, I never noticed it or thought about it until we had these comments, and it happened to me the minute I walked out the door. I had a water bottle in my hand and I had a newspaper in my hand. I've never noticed that our trash cans downtown and our recycling cans are half a block away from one another. Why they're not together? You know, you have to take your water bottle up to the recycling, the green one, and the regular trash can is, on the other side. So is there a reason why they're not together, or is there?
In some cases there are not.
Is there a reason why they're not all together?
Positioning.
When we look at the restructuring, it seems crazy to me. You get your hands full. You have to walk up here to drop off your, water bottle, and walk back here to drop off your trash. So.
I don't think we have enough recycling ones at this time, do we? To
we have
put them together.
Number out there, the grant.
All right.
It doesn't matter how many there are, they should be separated so far.
Okay,
We'll follow up.
thank you. Mrs. Keller?
I remember a while back, Mr. Hellinger sent an email that I don't know that anyone responded to, and I meant to and didn't, about the bag being delivered. I agreed 100% that it is just creating a mess. And I noticed as I was pulling out of the driveway that my neighbor's bag opened up and blew up over my yard, and my bag is there all soggy and gross, and there's other people's bag contents that are all in the gutter of the street, and they just seem to, it doesn't seem to work very well now that they're being put on the ground. I never am able to get to it before it's wet, it seems like. And I'm just wondering if there is some type of solution that the city could work out, because throwing them on the ground is littering. And it seems like, couldn't they just hang them up like they used to?
I think in some cases they do, I know.
In my neighborhood, all the mailboxes have hooks on the bottom, they just hook them on those.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
ours.
if there's hooks though,
They try.
Who put the hooks up?
typically the resident.
Homeowner.
So you can talk to your homeowners association, everybody put a little hook up there.
Try not aloud. I mean, I'm serious, they're really specific about the mailboxes, but, I mean, it's something to look into, but if there is no hook, they shouldn't leave it on the ground.
Well, then that would require, I think, probably some action. I can ask Darren, but I would think that you'd have to, I don't know if we'd have to, regulate that if.
Well, I dealt with this 5 years ago, when I first got on council, with
I don't like-
one of the former mayors. He did everything trying to protect, and it just goes on years, and still continue to just throw the bags. And if there's a bad snow, when snow melts, you got 9 bags in your snow yard.
Yeah.
And they go to the curb and the gutter. And they go
Why don't we start at least with contacting the company that actually does it to find out their willingness to just kind of cooperate with us. Pardon?
I think the employees vary widely that distribute those.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those.
If they start getting littering tickets, though, I'm sure the problem will
Yeah.
solve itself quickly.
We'll follow up then.
Thank you.
At least find out what our options are.
Okay, Mr. Nichinato?
Mentioned that, and the yard waste pickup starts tomorrow or today. Today. Officially. So, we've been getting, I've been getting a lot of calls, why they didn't pick it up last week. And I said, well,
We made a limited pickup last week, just to kind of people who put it out, but now it's full to be with your trash day.
Oh, okay, because my husband put it out, and I said, no, they're not doing it yet, and then it disappeared. I'm like, who took our yard waste?
I tell somebody it's not.
We can bring it back.
No, the gentleman that was here earlier.
They did an outstanding job, whoever did the utility bill. It was in there, April
So I
12th,
can put
week
my
of
Christmas
April
tree on
11th. But I'm glad to see that's back in effect. And I have to compliment, kudos to the Strand. I saw Joe there. We went to the Greek wedding, great movie. And the cake was delicious. And hopefully it'll be there for another 100 years. And I was glad Tom told me today we got a grant and got a nice check for it. Doing an outstanding job.
Thank you.
Mr. Burke?
I have nothing to add.
Ms. Hellier?
I'm speechless.
Are and then hard to believe. Mr. Schaefer?
Tom and I have a board meeting this coming Thursday, and just a question for Jackie. Do we have like a target time when we'll be meeting with the park and consultant people? I thought, it seemed like it was on the fast track, and now, again,
Right. Tomorrow or Thursday, Dave and I are going to be getting together to go over some of the things that they required us to get in place. We're still on track to be the first 2 weeks in May, and we're going to move heaven and earth to make sure that still happens. So we'll be in touch before the end of the week.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, sure.
Okay, did North Sandusky Street getting taken care of while I was gone with all the trucks?
It reopened the next day.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Those phone calls were something else.
And we did the radar out there, and it turns out they were all within like a few miles.
Okay. Dave, there's a company on North Sandusky Street, it's a tire company, and I'll probably pronounce it wrong. I think it's ZETS. Is that right? They're supposed to be doing all the work outside of the building?
No.
Because I went by the other day and the door was open and there was no way they could ever put a car in there because there's so many tires.
Okay.
So can you look into that for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. While I was in Florida, I drove 2 hours to an Ironman. Woo! And it was Ironman setup. I was so impressed, and boy, we got a lot of work to do. But they are so organized.
Were you at any volunteer camp?
Not very high, so let's not talk about it. I need volunteers. I need captains more than anything else. But I was very impressed. Theirs is a 70.3 also. Theirs is all contained in one park. So there are lakes right there. It was awesome. But Delaware will be booming that day. So, and I think that's it. And again, I'm sorry I was late. So, we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned at 8:16. Now, I've met up with Tom.